Okay, welcome everybody. Hope you're all warm enough. We had to walk all the way from the other side of the square, so we're glad to be inside. Thanks everyone for coming. This is our regular monthly hearing, a little different this time, our regular monthly hearing of the Planning Commission. Tonight, we will not be hearing any zonings. We do not talk about zonings tonight. We talk strictly about the comprehensive plan. Georgia law requires that every county, and that includes Cobb, have a comprehensive plan which sets forth a framework for development and comprehensive planning and growth as we go forward. Cobb County reviews this plan all during the year, and then we present these suggested changes to the public and to the Planning Commission first. That's tonight. And then there's a second hearing where the BOC, the Board of Commissioners, will hear the same issues, and that will be on the 16th. So if you're here tonight for any of these issues, you will need to come back on the 16th in this chamber. The change. Okay, we lost our sound for a minute. The changes that we will consider tonight to the comprehensive plan may be the result of direction that we received from the BOC due to zonings that have occurred during the past year or so, from studies or master plans that the county has completed, from the Planning Commission, from residents, from the business community, and also from our staff. Once completed and approved by the BOC, this plan then goes to the Atlanta Regional Commission, we call it the ARC, for them to review. This is required by law. The comprehensive plan does not serve as a development ordinance. It is not a law, it's not an ordinance, but it's rather a guide that we try to follow, and it's intended to direct the growth and the development in specific areas around the county. The hearing tonight is different from our normal zoning hearings in that no zonings will be considered. Therefore, we will dispense with a lot of what we would normally do. We will not have an opening prayer. We will not have the Pledge of Allegiance. We will not swear people in. People who do choose to come before us and speak will be given 3 minutes per person, and that's a little different too. And that is per person, that's not collectively. So if you choose to speak, you'll have to remember that. Each proposal that we'll consider tonight to the comp plan, each change, will be read into the record individually by Mr. Jason Gaines. Jason is at the podium now. Jason is our Planning Division Manager. He will read those into the record, each one individually, and I will then ask if there's anyone present wishing to comment on that particular item. If there is, you just raise your hand and let us know. We will pull this from the agenda, and then we'll come back and we'll hear it at the very end after all these have been read into the record. All those proposals that are not objected to will be motioned. That is, we'll make a motion to approve them together. Those are the motions. Those are the items that we have no issues with, and we're ready to move forward on those. And a vote will be taken as we normally do on those. Proposals that have been objected to, the ones you might raise your hand on and you might want to have something said about those entered into the record, will be put together and we'll call them back up one at a time. You can come forward at that time, and again, you'll have 3 minutes per person to speak. Planning commissioners will also have time during this entire process to ask questions and to make their comments and suggestions known as well. Mr. Gaines, you have any other directions for us? If not, I have one more thing.
No, sir.
No? Okay. If you do decide after your case or your item has been heard and adjudicated, if you decide to leave, that's fine. Please do so through the rear door. Do it quickly, do it quietly. We're going to keep moving right on to the next one. We are televised, so if you'd like to leave, that's fine. Just do it as quietly as you can. And I would ask you to please silence all electronic devices, especially cell phones. So I'd like to see you reaching for your cell phone. Be sure they're turned off. Or if you have any other things, iPads, laptops, what have you, that might interfere. They do interfere with our broadcasting, so I'd ask you to be sure those are turned off or at least silenced. Anyone else? I think that's it, Debbie. That pretty much covered it. Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Jason, we'll turn it over to you. Mr. Gaines, what do you got for us tonight?
All right. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. We've got 16 of the zoning decisions to review. And just for the public's information, we have 3 different categories for the future for the comprehensive plan amendments. We have the zoning decisions, we have the commission proposals, and we have staff proposals. So the first group are zoning decisions, which are actions that resulted from rezonings from a period beginning October 2016 and ending September this past year, 2017. So our first zoning decision, ZD1, is in Commission District 2. It's located on the northwest side of Manor Road, south of Atkinson Road. Uh, The associated zoning case was Z78 of 2016. Uh, The proposed change is from the industrial category to the high-density residential category.
Excuse me, is anyone present tonight wishing to speak to ZD1? Okay, not seeing and hearing any. Anybody on the podium? No? Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Okay. ZD2 is located in Commission District 4. It's located on the south side of Powder Springs Road, east of Sanders Road. The associated zoning case is Z83 of 2016. The proposed change is from industrial compatible to public and institutional.
Okay, what was that number again? ZD2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, anyone here wishing to speak to ZD2? Okay, we do have one, so we'll pull ZD2 and we will hear that in just 1 minute, okay? Okay, Jason, go ahead, please.
All right. ZD3 is in Commission District 2. It's located on the northwest side of Paces Mill Road, east of Paces Ferry Road. It's associated with Z90 of 2016. The proposed change is from Neighborhood Activity Center to high-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD3? Okay, not seeing and hearing any, nobody from the board. So that one will not be pulled. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. ZD4 is in Commission District 3. It's located at the southwest intersection of Shallowford Road and Jamerson Road, north of Backwoods Court and the eastern terminus of Hart Drive. It's associated with Z80 of 2016. The proposed change is from medium-density residential, low-density residential, and industrial compatible to high-density residential.
Okay, anyone here wishing to speak to ZD4? I see one in the back, so we'll pull ZD4. Okay, Jason, go ahead.
ZD5 is located in Commission District 3. It's located on the west side of Canton Road, north of Kensington Drive. It's associated with Z95 of 2016. The proposed change is from Neighborhood Activity Center to industrial compatible.
Anyone here wish to speak to ZD5? I see one in the back, so we'll pull ZD5. Go ahead, Jason.
ZD6 is also in Commission District 3. It's also located on the west side of Canton Road, north of Dover Street. It's associated with Z105 of 2016. The proposed change is from Neighborhood Activity Center to Community Activity Center.
Anyone here wish to speak to ZD6? We have one in the back, so we'll pull that one as well. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. ZD7 is in Commission District 4. It's located on the north side of Blair Bridge Road, east of Bridgeport Court. It's associated with Z106 of 2016. The proposed change is from medium-density residential to Neighborhood Activity Center.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD7? Okay, not seeing and hearing any. Jason, back to you.
ZD8 is also in Commission District 4. It's located at the southeast corner of Pat Mill and Favor Roads. It's associated with Z6 of 2017. The proposed change is from Neighborhood Activity Center and high-density residential to Neighborhood Activity Center in its entirety.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD8? Okay, not seeing and hearing any. Jason, back to you.
ZD9 is in Commission District 3. It's bounded by Ernest Barrett Parkway, Barrett Creek Boulevard, and Barrett Creek Parkway. It's associated with Z7 of 2017. The proposed change is from Community Activity Center and Neighborhood Activity Center to high-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD9? Okay, back to you, Jason.
ZD10 is also in Commission District 3. It's located on the southeast side of Lee Waters Road at its terminus south of Jamerson Road. It's associated with Z11 of 2017. The proposed change is from industrial compatible to medium density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD10? Okay, Jason, go ahead, please.
ZD11 is in Commission District 3. It's located on the east side of Blackwell Circle, south of Chastain Corner. It's associated with Z29 of 2017. The proposed changes from Neighborhood Activity Center to low-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 11? Okay, Jason, go ahead, please.
ZD 12 is in Commission District 3. It's located on the northwest corner of Shallowford Road and Shallow Farm Drive. It's associated with Z 33 of 2017. The proposed change is from low-density residential to medium-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 12? Judy, you indicated you might. Have you decided? Okay, so we're going to pull ZD 12, and we'll hear that one in a minute. Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
ZD 13 is in Commission District 3. It's located on the west side of Atlanta Road, south of Ledford Street. It's associated with Z 25 of 2017. The proposed change is from Community Activity Center and Industrial Compatible to high-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 13? Okay, go ahead, Jason.
ZD 14 is in Commission District 1. It's located on the north side of Dallas Highway, east of Martin Ridge Drive. It's associated with Z 48 of 2017. The proposed change is from low-density residential to neighborhood activity center.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 14? Okay, go ahead, Jason.
ZD 15 is located in Commission District 2. It's located on the south side of Church Road, east of South Cobb Drive. It's associated with Z 55 of 2017. The proposed change is from medium-density residential to neighborhood activity center.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 15? Okay, go ahead, Jason.
ZD 16 is located in Commission District 4. It's located on the north side of Hurt Road and the east side of Floyd Road. It is associated with Z 43 of 2017. The proposed change is from Community Activity Center to high-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to ZD 16? Go.
Yeah, I'd like to pull that one.
Okay, so we'll pull ZD 16 for our future discussion. Okay. Jason, I believe that's all of our ZDs.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And we had 10 that remained on, and we had 6 that were pulled.
That's exactly what I get. Okay, at this point, we'll need to go ahead and make a motion on the ones that were not pulled. So I need a motion from the board to approve those that were not pulled and left on the agenda as Jason read them into the record. Need a motion.
So moved. Do
We
we
have-
need to enumerate which
We
ones
do, we do. In fact, if
specifically?
you want to do that, since you made the motion, these are the items that the ZD items that we're approving.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve as presented the following changes: ZD 1, ZD 3, ZD 7, ZD 8, ZD 9, ZD 10, ZD 11, ZD 13, ZD 14, and ZD 15.
She did good reading my writing. All right. I have a second from Galt. Any further discussion from the board? Okay, call for the vote. So those have been approved. Now, the ones that were pulled are the ones that we will be discussing. We do need to read these into the record again, and then we'll invite the people who raise their hands to come up and make whatever comments they choose to. So Jason, let's start with ZD 2. Back to that one.
Yes, sir. ZD 2 is in Commission District 4, located on the south side of Powder Springs Road, east of Sanders Road, associated with zoning case Z 83 of 2016. The proposed change is from industrial compatible to public and institutional.
Okay, so that's ZD 2. Anyone wishing to speak to ZD 2, come on up. We're not going to do a swearing in today, but we'll take your comments at this time. Anybody from the public? Come on up. Well, you need to come to the podium. We need to get your name on the record, and then you can make whatever comment you like. We don't bite. I'm sorry, I'm being facetious. Come on up and just come to the podium, to the microphone, right there, and just give us your name.
My name is Addison Para, and I'm just here to, would like to know what are the other future plans besides the zoning decisions?
I'm not sure I understand the
Are you
question.
asking what they might do with the parcel? Is that-
Yes.
We had a zoning case last year for a church to go on that parcel.
Okay.
So, and I'm trying to remember if they had a school associated as well.
They did, private school, yeah.
Private school. So yes, that's what the zoning's already been approved for, and this plan change essentially makes our future plan align with what we already approved for zoning.
Next question. As far as I'm aware of, do you guys plan on building like residential micro apartments in the future?
It's really not a question for this particular hearing, and that's really a policy decision for the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farrell. Anyone else wishing to speak to ZD2? Okay, not seeing and hearing any. Yeah, be sure you stop by and sign the sheet that Mandy has at the front so we get the correct spelling of your name for our records.
So I'll make a motion.
You can make
that-
a motion.
Make a motion that we recommend approval of ZD2 as presented.
Second.
A motion second from Thea. Let's call for the vote. So that's what we'll do, 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item, Jason, was ZD4. Would you read that into the record for us again, please?
Yes, sir. ZD4 is in Commission District 3. It's located at the southwest intersection of Charlotteford Road and Jamerson Road, north of Backwoods Court, and at the eastern terminus of Hart Drive. It's associated with Z80 of 2016. The proposed change is for medium-density residential and low-density residential and industrial compatible to high-density residential.
Thank you, Jason. Carol, come on up. We'll have our first speaker. Anyone else that's here for ZD4 wishing to speak to this item, you can come on up as well and speak right behind our first speaker. Carol, give us your name for the record, please.
Carol Brown, Canton Road Neighbors. This was something that this rezoning actually came in previous to this, and it's Pearson Communities. It has not yet come in, and it was approved at 5.8 UPA. I believe that because of the type of rezoning and the type of site plan, this is going to come through. When this eventually does come through plan review, it's going to lose a few houses. And I think that will pull it down to 5 or just under 5 UPA. I think I can probably speak for the people in Chadds Ridge. They would also be more comfortable seeing this remain medium-density residential rather than going to HDR.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone else wishing to make comments on ZD4? Okay, not seeing and hearing any, we'll close the public portion. This is in District 3, so Judy, you want to take this one for us, please?
I agree with Carol. I think
Turn on your mic.
I agree with Carol. I think the ultimate density will go down, and I don't really think this is a place where we want to see high density. So my recommendation would be to deny the high density and leave it medium density residential.
Okay, so we're leaving that as MDR as the proposal.
I'll second for
That's your
discussion.
motion.
Would you want to change the whole thing to MDR and clean up the industrial compatible and
Good
the
question.
LDR?
Yeah, we could do the whole to MDR. We could do that. Good point. We could do the whole thing.
Okay.
So we're really deleting
To delete
to
it
lead to
to
MDR.
MDR.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you, Cobb.
Who was the second?
I was.
And did we need further discussion?
No.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, call for the vote. So ZD4 then, we will leave it as MDR. Okay, Jason, ZD5, please.
ZD5 is in Commission District 3. It's located on the west side of Canton Road, north of Kensington Drive. It's associated with Z95 of 2016. The proposal is from Neighborhood Activity Center to industrial compatible.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak to ZD5, come on up.
Carol Brown with Canton Road Neighbors. This particular rezoning was kind of a unique case. It had been operating for many years, and they wanted to build a warehouse, and because, well, long story short, it basically rezoned from O&I to OS. It is in a neighborhood activity center, and as a special exception is allowed for small OS within a NAC, actually. They're supposed to be 5,000 square feet or less, and this is not that much over 5,000 square feet. Because of the beneficial impact of the neighborhood activity center along Canton Highway, it's facilitated upgrades to many older properties, and for that reason, we would ask that this remain NAC.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Anyone else wish to speak to ZD5? Okay, not seeing and hearing any, we'll close the public portion of this particular item. This is also in District 3, so Ms. Williams, you want to take this one for us?
Yeah, I think we've been trying to clean up the Canton Road, and one of the goals is try to keep as much of the industrial off of Canton Road. So my recommendation would be to leave it as a NAC, deny the industrial compatible.
So the motion is to deny and leave it as a NAC. Can we get got a second? Any further discussion, comments? Call for the vote. 5-0, so that's what we'll do there. Thank you very much. Jason, ZD6, please.
ZD6 is in Commission District 3. It's located on the west side of Canton Road, north of Dover Street. It's associated with Z105 of 2016. The proposed changes from Neighborhood Activity Center to Community Activity Center.
Okay, anyone wish to speak to ZD6? Welcome back.
Carol Brown, Canton Road Neighbors, last one, I hope. I don't feel strongly about this one, but because of the location of it and the potential to open up a nice little cluster of CAC around it, I think we would prefer that it remain NAC, because it will have the same kind of beneficial effect over time to bring forward improvements in the area, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Brown. Anyone else wishing to speak to ZD6? Not seeing and hearing any. This is also District 3. Judy, this is also yours.
I agree. It's a small track, and I think it needs to stay a neighborhood activity center. So my recommendation would be to deny this one and leave it a neighborhood activity center.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second for Skip. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. Okay, thank you very much. ZD12, Jason, please.
ZD12 is located in Commission District 3. It's located on the northwest corner of Shallowford Road and Shallow Farm Drive. It's associated with Z33 of 2017. The proposed change is from low-density residential to medium-density residential.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak to ZD12? I thought we had one. No? Oh, Judy, you pulled it. Okay. Okay, what's your,
This was one I want to deny also. I think that that it needs to stay low-density residential. So my motion would be to deny the medium-density residential and keep it low-density residential.
leave as LDR. Who was the second? Okay, second from Mr. Porter. Call for the vote. So that's what we'll do. 5-0 is the vote. Last ZD item, ZD16. Jason, please.
Yes, sir. ZD16 is in Commission District 4. It's located on the north side of Hurt Road and the east side of Floyd Road. It's associated with Z43 of 2017, the proposed changes from Community Activity Center to high-density residential.
Thank you. Anyone here from the public wishing to speak to ZD 16? Not seeing and hearing any. Galt, I know you had some issues with this, so you want to lead our
Yeah,
discussion,
I
please?
think this would be an island of high density there. And I think maybe like the other case, when they come in for plan review, we're just a little over. It may even drop down and get under, but this is an area with a lot of medium density. So I'm going to make a recommendation that we delete this to medium density residential instead of high density.
Okay, we have a second from Ms. Powell, so we're deleting to MDR. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. 5-0 is the vote. And Jason, I believe that concludes our ZD items, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So you can start with the CPs, which are the commissioner proposals.
Okay, just bear with me one moment.
Take your time. If I knew a good joke, I'd tell one, because this is sure dry stuff, isn't it?
All right, I'm ready.
But essential. Okay, go ahead, Jason, whenever you're ready.
Okay, our next group of items are the commissioner proposals, and these vary from the zoning decisions in that they did not result, or they were not the result of a zoning action by the Board of Commissioners, but they were instead items identified either by the district commissioner or staff, and then confirmed to move forward for consideration by the commissioner of the respective district. So with that, we'll cover our items. We have 3 items in District 1, 7 items in District 2, 5 items in District 3, and 6 items in District 4. With that, we'll start with CP11. It consists of 11 parcels located on both sides of Stanley Road. The proposed changes from low-density residential to medium-density residential. These parcels are completely surrounded by the city limits of Kennesaw.
Okay, anyone here wish to speak to CP 1-1? Not seeing and hearing any. Skip, you okay with this one? Yep. Okay, so that one will stay here. Okay, Jason, next.
CP12 consists of 1 parcel located on the east side of Hiram Ackworth Highway, south of Sayer Drive. Proposed change is from very low density residential to public institutional.
Anyone here wishing to speak to CP 1-2? Not seeing and hearing any. Back to this group.
Yeah, I'd like to pull this one for discussion.
Okay, so CP 1-2 we'll bring up for discussion in just a minute, okay? Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. CP13 consists of 2 parcels located on the north side of Dallas Highway, east of Bob Cox Road. The proposed change is from rural residential to neighborhood activity center with the following text amendment. In an effort to mitigate any future land use conflicts between surrounding residential uses and commercial uses, it is recommended that the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners consider additional and enhanced buffering and screening requirements on any development or redevelopment of tracts within the NAC on the northeast side of Dallas Highway and southeast side of Bob Cox Road. It is also recommended that they require any development of these parcels to be done in a manner cognizant of the need to mitigate impacts to the headwaters of the watercourse on the northeast side of parcel ID, and I won't read the number because it's in the record. It is further recommended that the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners encourage only low-intense office uses for this parcel. This is intended to further protect the existing residential uses and natural resources of the county.
Okay, anyone here wishing to speak to CP 1-3? Okay, close that portion. Skip.
Yeah, I'd like to pull that one for discussion also.
Okay, CP 1-3 will be pulled. Okay, Jason.
Next item is CP 2-1. Consists of multiple parcels on the north side of Johnson Ferry Road, south of Karras Gate Drive. The proposed change is from community activity center to low density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to CP 2-1? Okay. All right, Jason, go ahead, please.
CP 22 consists of multiple parcels on the south side of Johnson Ferry Road and south of Woodlawn Parkway. Proposed changes from low-density residential to medium-density residential.
Anyone here wish to speak to CP 2-2? Okay, thank you. Oh, is it one? Okay, we'll pull CP 2-2. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, go ahead.
CP 23 consists of 3 parcels on the east side of Atlanta Road and the north side and south sides of Cantrell Road. Proposed changes from medium-density residential to a neighborhood activity center.
Anyone here wish to speak to CP 2-3? Okay, there is a text amendment with this, I believe, but we'll get to that later, okay. Not for this one, that's the next one, okay. See, that's CP 2-3. Okay, Jason, what's next?
CP 24 consists of 3 parcels on the west side of Atlanta Road, north of Cooper Lake Drive. The proposed changes from medium-density residential to neighborhood activity center.
Okay, anyone here wish to speak to CP 2-4? Okay, we have a couple, so we'll pull that one. Okay,
CP 25 consists of a parcel located on the east side of Windy Hill Road, south of Wildwood Parkway. The proposed change is from the office subcategory of the Regional Activity Center to the high-density residential subcategory of the Regional Activity Center.
okay, anyone here wishing to speak to CP 2-5? Okay,
I can't support this, so we need to
okay, let's pull.
take it off, so
Let's pull CP 2-5.
thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
CP 26 consists of 2 parcels on the east side of Beach Haven Trail, south of Gilmore Road. Proposed change is from the office and public and institutional subcategories of the Regional Activity Center to the high-density residential subcategory of the Regional Activity Center.
Okay, anyone who wish to speak to CP 2-6? Okay. Go ahead, please.
CP 27 consists of 1 parcel on the west, a single parcel on the west side of Cumberland Parkway, east of I-285 and north of Mount Wilkinson Parkway. Proposed changes from the open space recreation subcategory of the Regional Activity Center to the office subcategory of the Regional Activity Center.
Anyone wish to speak to CP 2-7? Okay, thank you.
CP 31 consists of 2 parcels on the south side of New Chastain Road. The proposed changes from high-density residential and low-density residential to parks, recreation, conservation.
Anyone here wish to speak to CP 3-1? Okay,
CP 32 consists of 5 parcels on the east side of Bells Ferry Road, south of Lloyd Drive. Proposed changes from low-density residential to parks, recreation, and conservation.
anyone here wish to speak to CP 3-2? I see one hand, so we'll pull that one. CP 3-2. Okay,
CP 33 consists of a single parcel located on the south side of Lee Waters Road, east of Canton Road. The proposed change is from industrial compatible to medium-density residential.
anyone here wishing to speak to CP 3-3? Okay, thank you.
CP 34 is located south of Shiloh Road, east of Fry Road. The proposed change is from Community Activity Center to Neighborhood Activity Center.
Anyone wishing to speak to CP 3-4? I see somebody stretching. That's not a, you just stretching, right? Okay. All right, Jason, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. CP 35 is also located south of Shiloh Road, east of Fry Road. Proposed changes from high-density residential to medium-density residential.
Anyone wishing to speak to CP 3-5? We have one, so we'll pull that one. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
CP 41
That's all right, we get it.
is located on Six Flags Parkway near Lee Industrial Boulevard. The proposal is to add a text amendment to the existing future land use category of priority industrial area. The proposed text amendment reads as follows. In an effort to lessen the negative impacts on adjacent residential neighborhoods caused by industrial uses along the east and west side of Six Flags Parkway, west of Queens Ferry Place and Queens Ferry Drive, and to maintain the purpose and intent of the PIA, it is recommended that the Board of Commissioners consider industrial uses that foster innovative, high-technology, low-pollution industries. As an additional mitigation effort, it is also recommended that a natural buffer and/or screening be established between the PIA and residential uses.
Okay, so we have a text amendment. Anyone wishing to speak to CP 4-1? Okay, we have one, so we'll pull that one. 2. 4-1. Okay, Jason.
Okay. CP 42 consists of 4 parcels on the south side of Hill Road, west of C.H. James Parkway. The proposed change is from low-density residential to neighborhood activity center.
Anyone wishing to speak to CP 4-2? Okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay. CP 43 consists of portions of 2 parcels south of Spring Road, north of Veterans Memorial Highway. The proposed change is from neighborhood activity center to medium-density residential.
Anyone here wishing to speak to CP 4-3? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Jason.
CP 44 consists of 2 parcels on the west side of Maxim Road. The proposed change is from low-density residential to parks, recreation, and conservation.
Anyone wishing to speak to CP 4-4? Okay.
Okay. CP 45 consists of multiple parcels on the south side of Powder Springs Road. The proposed change is from industrial compatible and priority industrial area to a neighborhood activity center with an associated text amendment, which reads as follows. In order to implement and promote a more compatible and practical land use pattern for the area along Powder Springs Road near the intersection of Flint Hill Road, as depicted in map 4.31, appendix 4 of the 2040 comprehensive plan, the Board of Commissioners recommends the establishment of a neighborhood activity center. In addition, the Board of Commissioners encourages retail-oriented uses along Powder Springs Road with enhanced landscaping and architectural design. Office-oriented uses may be considered along the perimeter of the NAC with extensive buffering adjacent to existing residential uses.
Anyone here wish to speak to CP 4-5 with the text amendment? Okay.
CP 46 also consists of multiple parcels on the south side of Powder Springs Road at the intersection of Flint Hill Road. The proposed change is from industrial compatible and priority industrial area to a neighborhood activity center with a proposed text amendment, which reads as follows. In order to implement and promote a more compatible and practical land use pattern for the area along Powder Springs Road near the intersection of Flint Hill Road, as depicted in map 4.31, appendix 4 of the 2040 comprehensive plan, the Board of Commissioners recommends a neighborhood activity center. In addition, the Board of Commissioners encourages retail-oriented uses along Powder Springs Road with enhanced landscaping and architectural design. Office-oriented uses may be considered along the perimeter of the NAC with extensive buffering adjacent to existing residential uses.
Okay, anyone wish to speak to CP 4-6 with the text amendment as read? Okay, Jason?
Okay. By my count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items that were pulled from the list.
Mm,
Got 8. Did I miss one? Let's recount. 1, 2,
8.
4, 5, 6.
You want to read them to you real
It's
quick?
8. It's 8. It's correct. And I'll go ahead and enumerate them as well. It's CP1-2, CP1-3, CP2-2, CP2-4, CP2-5, CP3-2, CP3-5, and CP4-1.
I believe that's correct. Okay, so those have been pulled for discussion. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, is that right?
Mhm.
That were approved. So we need a motion to approve those. Is it 13?
Hold on. There were
It is
21. There were
13.
21 total items, so it's 13 and 8.
It is 13. I ran out of room and had to put my 13th one at the top of the next page, so, okay. You'll motion it?
I'll make a motion, we approve those 13, and I'll read through them. CP 1-1, CP 2-2, CP 2-3, CP 2-6.
No. CP 1-1, CP 2-1.
Let me start again. I'm sorry. I'm a mathematician, so I got the 13 correct, but I can't read. Okay. So I make a motion that we recommend approval of CP 1-1, 2-1, 2-3,
Got it.
2-6, 2-7, 3-1, 3-3, CP 3-4, CP 4-2, CP 4-3, CP 4-4, CP 4-5, and CP 4-6.
I believe that's correct. Okay, we'll go with Judy on this one as our second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. So those are approved 5-0. Dr. Skip, you did just fine. Okay, now we're going to go back to our items that were pulled for discussion. So we will need to read these back into the record again, and then you folks can come up and make your comments. So let's start with CP 1-2.
CP12 consists of a single parcel located on the east side of Hiram Ackworth Highway, south of Sayer Drive. Proposed changes from very low density residential to public and institutional.
Okay, anyone wish to speak to CP 2-1? Come on up. I'm sorry. 1-2.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Gamble, and I'm a member of People Looking After Neighborhoods. The definition of the future land use is a recommendation for future use of the property per Cobb County code, per Cobb County future land use map, part of the comprehensive plan. Future land use is a projection, not a zoning classification. CP 1-2 is residentially zoned land, and as allowed by code, a church has been built upon the parcel with no rezoning application. Future land use as defined public institution is for state, federal, or local government use in institutional land uses such as government building complexes, police, fire stations, colleges, and churches. It begs to ask the question as to why this parcel is being considered for a land use change. Based on the above definition, If you carefully look at the future land use plan, we have many churches in District 1 that are still designated as residential, along with police and fire stations and government building complexes. Plan requests that you deny this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak to CP 1-2? Okay, it's back to this board. Skip, this is yours. You want to handle our discussion?
Yeah, I will, I had pulled this because there was nobody objecting, but Kelly Gambrell very eloquently said what I planned to say. I was going to be more simple about it. I don't think that it makes an awful lot of sense to change this on the future land use map to PI. I would make a motion that we recommend that it be, that the change be denied.
And so we're leaving this as very low density
Is
residential.
VLDR, which is what everything else around there is.
Okay, we have a second from Galt. Is that yours? Okay, any further discussion? Call for the vote. Okay, and now we have CP 1-3.
CP 1-3 consists of 2 parcels located on the north side of Dallas Highway, east of Bob Cox Road. Proposed change is from rural residential to neighborhood activity center with the following text amendment. In an effort to mitigate any future land use conflicts between surrounding residential uses and commercial uses, it is recommended that the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners consider additional and enhanced buffering and screening requirements on any development or redevelopment of tracts within the NAC on the northeast side of Dallas Highway and the southeast side of Bob Cox Road. It is also recommended that they require any development of these parcels to be done in a manner cognizant of the need to mitigate impacts to the headwaters of the watercourse on the northeast side of parcel ID. It is further recommended that the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners encourage only low-intense office uses for this parcel. This is intended to further protect the existing residential uses and natural resources of the county.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak to CP 1-3? Okay, this is in Skip's, and I believe you're the one who asked us to close.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I believe we had
Was
someone
one?
from the public want
Okay,
to
you need
speak.
to really raise your hand. It's hard for us. We have these lights in our eyes. Why don't you come on up? And again, just give us your name for the record, please.
My name is Aspara. Thank you for letting me be back on the floor again. But you said that CP 1-3 was originally residential, but you're wanting to change that? Okay, my bad.
That's,
But,
well, that's the proposal to change the future land use from a residential. Not
Okay.
the zoning, but just the potential future land use of it.
Well, as Miss, I think it was Kelly again, if I'm correct. But I have to agree with her that there should be really no need for more properties such as commercial and churches, since we've got plenty of those. But also for the residential who will be displaced from their current homes. Are these lower residentials going to be, will the price of real estate go up?
I'll answer that. This is my district. We can't really, think about what it's going to do to property values. We're not to, discuss, the value of various properties, but this is currently zoned it's currently designated in the future land use map as rural residential, which allows for residential development. The proposal is to make it a neighborhood activity center so that it would be more consistent with what is just to the west of it. But there may be some other issues here, and so this, right now, as it's currently zoned, it would never be anything other than residential.
Well, most of the stuff I'm talking about, me as a Christian, have nothing against of making more churches, but the one thing I do want to point out is that since you guys have like don't have any change of mind for actually hearing us out, even though if all of us do speak against it, I would like to go ahead and exercise my rights from the 14th Amendment to own and control property, especially with the Fifth Amendment from preventing the government from changing any plans on our land. Thank you.
We need our lawyer to weigh in.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we have an attorney.
As much as I would like to have enough money to actually have a lawyer for that sort of thing.
Well, I understand you have the opportunity to speak and your time has almost run. But this is not about changing anybody's use of land. It's the future land use, which is a guideline for changes. So the actions that are being taken tonight are not changing the use of anybody's land. And really, I don't think this is the proper forum. But I mean,
But you guys
have
but you-
been given your right to speak and your time has run.
Okay, thank you for coming. Anyone else wishing to speak to CP 1-3? And again, each person does get 3 minutes to speak. Kelly, give us your name again, please.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Gambrell, and I'm with People Looking After Neighborhoods. This one parcel that's included in the two came back before you in 2015 for a rezoning for a low-rise office. It was postponed many months down the road, and it never formally came back in front of the board because of issues that were raised with this area. I think we're a little premature at changing the land use plan to a more intense use given the constraints of the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else wish to speak to CP 1-3? Okay, not seeing and hearing any. It's back to this board.
So is mine.
This is Skips. You're going to lead our discussion.
So I agree with Kelly Gambrell that it's premature to make a change. This parcel has come up a number of times, I think, for rezoning, and the last time, as she correctly points out, a low-rise office plan was presented, and it didn't fit. I agree with the planning department and the planners who are in the planning department that from a planning point of view, it's a nice and tidy approach to go ahead and extend the neighborhood activity center that is just immediately to the west. But I think this parcel is a very special piece of property, and as pointed out in the text amendment, there are 3 conditions in there that are laid out in the text amendment to protect the residential homeowners who are just immediately to the north and the east of this parcel. I'm thinking that we may find that somebody's going to come forward with another proposal for how to use this land, ask for zoning that will be consistent with that, and that may in fact be better than low-rise office on this parcel. I don't know what that would be, but I don't want to preempt that possibility. So my recommendation to the Board of Commissioners is to recommend denial of this CP 1-3 and have it remain as rural residential in the future land use map.
We'll go with Judy on our second for that. So we're denying this and leaving it as rural residential. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. So that's what we'll do, 5-0. Okay, Jason.
Our next item is CP 22. Consists of multiple parcels on the south side of Johnson Ferry Road, south of Woodlawn Parkway. Proposed changes from low-density residential to medium-density residential.
Okay, anyone here wishing to speak to CP 2-2? We had somebody. Okay, come on up.
My name is Charlene Fletcher. Since I commute along Johnson's Ferry, this is a good question for this. What is the difference between the medium density and a low density and such? Since I'm new to a lot of this. Because I'm just thinking the 2-lane road over there with more traffic on it, if it's going up to more people, gets kind of crowded.
It has to do with the density. Low-density residential can go up to 2.5 units per acre, and medium density can go up to 5 per acre. Since this has already been built out, it's really built out closer to medium-density residential than it is to low-density.
To low density,
And
okay.
that's why they suggested the change.
To change it, okay. I
It's-
just figured
it's
this was a
really-
good time to ask the question.
It's
as
really
to
right in between the two. It falls in, it was developed at 3.3 units per acre.
Okay,
So a little outside the low density, just barely inside the medium, and that's why they recommend.
that's why they're looking at doing the change, okay. Just thought I'd ask.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing and hearing anybody. This is in District 2. I would recommend that we approve this as presented, low density, proposed going to medium density residential. Can we get a second? Second from Thea. Call for the vote. Okay, thank you very much. Jason, what's next, please?
Next item is CP24. It consists of 3 parcels on the west side of Atlanta Road, north of Cooper Lake Drive. Proposed changes from medium-density residential to a neighborhood activity center.
Okay, anyone wish to speak to CP 2-4? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Florence Haynes, and I am the owner of one of those 3 properties. And I am very, very confused because those 3 properties are commercial properties. Yet you're saying medium density or something residential, okay? So my question is, are you rezoning my property?
No, this is not a zoning hearing at all. This is to consider changes to the land use map, which is a guideline that we use. But we're not
Well, I'll
changing,
tell
we're
you
not
right now,
changing
we
the
plan on
zoning.
staying in this business and in this spot for many, many years to
And
come.
I live right around the corner, and I hope you stay there too, so.
Okay,
all-
one
all
other
we're-
question
Okay.
that has been brought to our attention. They are saying that as a part of this, that you're looking to put a retention pond behind our properties due to
No.
the new construction that is there and the difficulty with the runoff of the water?
No, there's nothing about that in this.
Okay,
That would be a zoning matter, and we're not talking zoning tonight. So-
okay. Well,
I
3
think you're
properties
fine.
are there, that are there are commercial.
Well, I'm very familiar with it since I live in the area. Anything else before I jump in?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Florence, very much. Anyone else wishing to speak to this? Come on up.
My name is Chris Strong, and I live on Lee Road, just in behind this said property area. And further to the last question, I don't quite understand either. It already is being used as commercial property. The commissioners are proposing that, well, what is a neighborhood activity center? What does that include?
It has been zoned as medium-density residential for years, but it's really not.
It's not zoned that.
No, I'm sorry, it's that way on the land use map. It's medium-density residential.
Right.
But it hasn't been residential for a long, long time.
Correct, yes.
It is commercial, and all we're saying is we're acknowledging that, and we think it should stay that. And so you do that by changing the land use map to neighborhood activity center, NAC.
So does,
Within the neighborhood activity center, there are many zoning categories
okay.
that can be used. We're not changing any zoning.
But
I know where you live. I've spoken to you before
Yes.
about this, spoken to Rosemary and several of
Yes.
those that live in the area. I know the businesses that exist there. I think they work well there.
Yes, they
We
do.
don't have issues with sound. We don't have issues
We have a
with
little bit of an issue,
traffic,
but,
but
yeah.
minor issues. And all we're doing is acknowledging that this is commercial and it should stay commercial.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, any other comments from the board? I'm going to recommend then that we do exactly as proposed here. Medium-density residential proposed going to neighborhood activity center for CP 2-4. Second from Galt. Call the vote. Okay, and that's what we'll do. 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, Jason.
Okay, our next item is CP 25. Consists of a parcel located on the east side of Windy Hill Road, south of Wildwood Parkway, excuse me. The proposed change is from the office subcategory of the Regional Activity Center to the high-density residential subcategory of the Regional Activity Center.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak to CP 2-5? Okay, that's one that Thea had a comment on. Thea?
Right, at this point in time, I cannot support this.
Okay.
So we just needed to take a separate vote.
Yeah, I understand that. This site, most of you, well, not most of you, some of you know where this site is, down off of Wildwood. It's been on the market for years and on the land use map as RAC, Regional Activity Center for offices. But it's never been developed as offices. People that have looked at it said it just isn't suitable for offices. And so this is an attempt really to change this to a regional activity center with a subcategory that will allow residential to go on this site. Now, we do have someone interested in the site now, and that's what they're proposing. So all we're trying to do is get ahead of that by acknowledging that that would be an appropriate thing to go there. I actually think this would be good for the community if it did. There is a precedence for this in the neighborhood. We have lots of regional activity centers all around this with subcategories of MDR, that's medium density residential, high density residential, all around here. So all we're saying is that that's what this site should be as well. So I do like this. I think we're getting ahead of the curve on this. So without further discussion, anything else, anyone else from the public? I'm going to recommend that we approve CP 2-5 Regional Activity Center Office and change it to Regional Activity Center High Density Residential. Second, Galt. Let's call for the vote. So that's approved 4-1 with Ms. Powell voting in the negative. Okay. What else? Jason?
Excuse me, our next item is CP 32. Consists of 5 parcels on the east side of Bells Ferry Road, south of Lloyd Drive. The proposed change is from low-density residential to parks, recreation, and conservation.
Okay, anyone here wish to speak to CP 3-2? Come on up and give us your name, please.
Good evening. My name's Hannah Janiak. I'm all for switching it to conservation. I just had a quick question, which I realize this isn't zoning. I've learned a lot tonight. This is my first meeting. There was an office building that was gonna go up. I think it was like approved a year or year and a half ago in that general area. Is that included in this parcel? Are they switch it? Did they decide not to put that through? Is that going through? Do you
Is it
know?
Judy?
Like it was a warehouse, I believe.
This is floodplain property, so all it is just floodplain, and we're putting it in the recreation part.
Okay, so is that warehouse still gonna go through or no?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you guys for putting it as conservation.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak to CP 3-2? One more, come on up.
Yes, my name is Diane Shepherd. I'm new to Cobb County. I'm not new to comprehensive planning. I've been involved decades ago in a couple other states. So I appreciate your work very much. And she basically answered my question about the floodplain. I live in Chastain Lakes. We've just moved there. And so which estuary is that part of a floodplain? Is that the Noonday Creek or what runoff is that in the floodplain of?
It's a Noonday Creek.
It's a Noonday Creek.
Yeah.
And I know there's development along Noonday Creek. There's new, looks like bathrooms and landscaping and parking and everything.
That's part of the trail system.
Is there any plans for this particular floodplain property to be more developed?
No.
No, okay. Because having come from Cherokee County along the Etowah River, they have soccer fields and various things that can be flooded and not ruined.
Right. We have those existing, like on Hopkins Store Road. We have some, but this is not proposed. It's just floodplain, and we just want to put it in the correct classification.
Right, a good usage. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you, ma'am.
and your hard work.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to CP 3-2? Okay, Judy, you want to take this one, please?
I make a motion we approve from low-density residential to park, recreation, and conservation.
Okay, motion and second from Skip. Call for the vote. Approved 5-0.
Our next item is CP 3-5. It's located south of Shiloh Road and east of Fry Road. Proposed changes from high-density residential to medium-density residential.
Okay, anyone here wish to speak to CP 3-5? Come on up. I give you $1 for that hat. Feel good on my bald head when I go out.
Hello, I'm Vicey Sims. I'm an investment property owner
Okay, just give us your name,
in
please.
that area. Vicey,
I see.
yes.
Okay.
My husband is Rudolph. He's not here tonight. But I was interested to know specifically what would the land use, what's the current proposal for the land use change, or the change of the land use?
Skip, this is yours.
We propose to, it's mine. We propose to change this from high-density residential, which is currently shown on the land use plan, to medium-density residential.
Okay, so medium density,
Would be from 1 to 2, 5 units per acre, so,
right, and it's currently single-family homes in there.
right.
And that's considered high density?
No, that's what they,
I thought that would be low.
that's what was shown on the land use plan. Now we want to change it to medium density to reflect better what's on the land.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so not apartments or anything
Not
like that?
apartments, correct.
Okay, we were wondering if it was KSU. Okay, so how would that ultimately affect the current homeowners? I mean, the current residents?
Really won't have any effect at all. It's just something that we're proposing, something to look at in the future that we're not gonna be looking, maybe at high density, which would be apartments or something. We wouldn't be looking at high density.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's sort of like a cleanup, if you would, trying to clean up so that we get what's existing on the land.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Stacy Weedman, and I am curious as to why we would not consider moving this to high density. Because if it currently is low density, and there are homes in there that are not actually low density, then I don't actually see the need for changing it at all, other than changing it to high density so that we could allow for more student capability for the college.
We think, in this district, I think that we have ample housing as of this time for the students. We've approved some that hadn't even come out of the ground. So we have a lot of high-density residential out in this area. And this particular area more reflects where we're trying to keep it as medium density instead of the high density. Student housing is well taken care of, and will be for a while, but this needs to be more in keeping with the, what's existing out there.
Would it be possible to leave it as it is and then change it later if there's a reason to?
No, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't go ahead and change it. High density is not something that we project. We don't see it coming. We see it remaining as, put it in the medium density residential classification.
Would you have the capability to change it later if you wanted
Well,
to?
anybody, since this is not a zoning hearing, anybody can apply for zoning,
Right.
no matter what we put it in the land use plan. It's just a guideline. This is all this is, it's a guideline. If somebody came to us and wanted to propose rezoning, they could, no matter what's on the future land use plan. This just gives the people in the area and us a guideline. That's all it does.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak to CP 3-5?
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this from high-density residential to medium-density residential.
I'll second that.
We have a second from Skip. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. So that's approved 5-0. Okay, Jason, I think we have one more.
One moment. Okay, our last item is CP 41. It's located on Six Flags Parkway near Lee Industrial Boulevard. The proposed change is to add a text amendment to the existing category of, future land use category of priority industrial area. The proposed text amendment reads as follows. In an effort to lessen the negative impacts on adjacent residential neighborhoods caused by industrial uses along the east and west side of Six Flags Parkway, west of Queens Ferry Place and Queens Ferry Drive, and to maintain the purpose and intent of the PIA, it is recommended that the Board of Commissioners consider industrial uses that foster innovative, high technology, low pollution industries. As an additional mitigation effort, it is also recommended that a natural buffer and/or screening be established between the PIA and residential uses.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak to CP 4-1 or the text amendment that was just read? Come on up. Give us your name, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Dills, and I'm not really here to object to the changes at all. I'm just basically looking for a little clarification, a little better understanding. My wife and I, we've owned a business there on Six Flags Parkway for well over 25 years. It is zoned light industry, and to my knowledge, we have had 0 complaints from any neighbor or anybody at all. And my concern is if I am fortunate enough to purchase another piece of property that joins my property, as I would like to increase the size of our business. And after 25 years, I think we deserve that. And what I'm trying to find out, how will the new text amendments be a problem for me to zone a piece of property next to my business?
Well, I'll try and give you what I can tell you in a somewhat generic fashion because, individual zoning, you have to look at the details of that. But let me say this text amendment was brought about by a land use permit that was applied for in Six Flags Parkway earlier this year, in which we realized, okay, we're in an industrial area, but we still have a number of residential houses where people are living in them. They haven't been converted to, a business use, and saying, if this particular land use permit was to put in a body shop, was what was being asked for, which is a very noisy, dusty kind of thing. And we came to realize, well, we probably need something to add a little bit more protection if somebody's putting in something that's right next to a residential use. So to put in some buffers and also look at businesses that aren't quite as noisy and cause as much pollution, that's going to be next to residential. Eventually over time, this whole thing will probably become all industrial, including those houses as, people come along and buy and redevelop. And that's what we're talking about is all about, is the future when people want to do something different with the property than what it has right now. That's really where everything we're discussing tonight comes into play. When a property owner brings something and says, I want to do something. Now, for you individually, it may mean that you have to establish some buffers, plant some evergreen type bushes that would be approved by the county arborist in a certain depth, and that to provide some noise and sound barriers to residential properties.
I fully agree with you and understand that, because like I say, we've been in this location for over 25 years. So we put in the buffers and everything when we built it. We've had no problems. But I do have a desire to purchase additional property so that we can grow our business. Now, if I understand this correctly, it actually covers about 39 acres. Is that correct? It's not just Six Flags Parkway there at Lee Industrial.
It's a
as
lot of
indicated
parcels.
here.
It's 39 well, it says acreage 39
39 acres, right?
on here.
So that would give us a good bit of industrial area in this whole 39 acres.
Yeah, this area is already all planned to be industrial in the future.
Okay.
This is just adding that amendment that says, you know, we have to be cognizant of the residents and plan either businesses that are less noisy, less polluting, and put in buffers and things so that, yeah, we protect their quality of life as new business, you know, comes in or businesses expand like you're talking about. And we love to see people be successful and expand, so.
I certainly
That's great.
understand that, and I have no problem with that.
Ed, I'm just
wanted
curious,
some
what is
clarification.
your business?
Sir?
What is your business? What do you do there?
We own signal signs.
Okay, so you're a
and,
sign manufacturer,
signal-
banners and that sort of thing?
Light manufacturing.
Is your thought that you would buy land close by and continue doing that same thing?
I hope to like add on to our manufacturing facility, add on to our office, because we need it. We have grown so much, we're at a stagnant point, that we can't do anything else.
We'd love to see you do that.
Until, and
Well,
Judy, I'm
this
sure
shouldn't
she
have any
remembers
negative effect on
that
you.
we have bought many, many sign permits from Cobb County. So, it's good to see y'all again, and I like what y'all are doing. I'm not opposed to it at all. I just wanted some clarification and sort of let the planning board know that we have plans to increase our facility and hoping that everybody will work with us in doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed, very much. Anyone else from the audience wishing to speak to CP 4-1? No, she's getting up to leave, okay. Oh, yeah, we do have one more. Come on up. Appreciate your patience. Give us your name, please.
My name is Michael Dugan. I'm not really opposed to the plan. I just had a couple quick questions because again, I'm new to this whole thing. I just got the notice. I was wondering, because right now I know the property that I'm on is residential. It's R20. I was wondering how soon this is going to take effect, where they plan on switching it over to industrial, like how soon in the future.
That really depends on the property owner. We don't generally go about changing people's zoning or anything. It's when the person who owns the property comes in and says, I want to do something else with it. I want to tear down this house and build a new building. We don't force people out of their houses or anything like that. This may take 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. We don't know.
So it's just basically saying it's going to stay what it is now, but if somebody wanted to do something industrial with it, it would be approved down the line. Okay, I understand.
Potentially approved.
Maybe.
Potentially
Maybe
approved,
not.
depending on exactly what they want to do, because if they wanted to bring in a very, very noisy, polluting thing right next to a house, that may not be approved. If they bring in something like the text amendment talks about, low pollution, low noise, better chance it would be approved.
Okay, that's understandable. And another question that I had was about the amendment on it. I do see where you're coming for the amendment, but like you said earlier in the thing, that it's probably eventually all going to turn industrial down the line, that the properties will probably wind up being sold. And I don't really see, for the people that have smaller properties, I don't really see the benefit of having that buffer when eventually everything is probably going to be industrial, and you have a garbage company right there on the border. That from my understanding from the tenants that have been there forever, that was originally not supposed to be a transfer station, was supposed to be, just for mechanical repair. And they do a transfer station over there, which has noise going 24/7, rat issues and everything like that. And if they can get away with that, I don't understand why, if we decide to do something else with our properties or sell to somebody that wanted to do a heavier industrial business, that it wouldn't be approved. There's also a trucking company right behind me on the other side that goes 24/7. You hear trucks loading all night and things like that of that nature. So I really don't see the need for the amendment to the industrial.
Okay, some of the residents, I believe, brought some of this forward when we were talking about the land use permit and that. And the garbage truck situation was brought forward, and I know the commissioner asked staff to look at it and go out. So hopefully at least things are being dealt with properly because there's not supposed to be any trash storage on site overnight or anything like that.
No,
And-
that transfer
and-
station, as far as I see, they have trucks coming in with trash all hours of the night. You hear, wakes me up some nights, dumpsters banging 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. They go 24/7 with trash over there. So that's, like I said, with that being said, and then, with all the other industrial and the trucking company, heavy industrial being there, I don't really see why the other properties would be, subjected to only doing, on the lighter industrial or quieter industrial,
Right.
Okay,
specifications.
Michael, your time is up, so I need
Okay.
to cut you off. But this is not gonna happen anytime soon. Believe me, it's not. And what you're talking about is a zoning issue, and this is not a zoning. We're not talking about zonings here, but you should be fine for quite a while.
Okay.
However, you brought up some issues that normally we would hear at another meeting that I think should be brought to code enforcement to look
Right.
into. So
Yeah.
we have a code enforcement division that can come out there and check, and if they're doing something they shouldn't, they'll put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll see that they do that.
And you can call code enforcement or file complaints online if you want, anytime you see something that
So
doesn't
as
look
far as the
right.
garbage company goes, they're not supposed to be having trash over there at this point, is what you're
But
basically saying?
they'll
Well-
come and they'll look at it, and then they'll check, and they'll see what they should and should not be doing, and if they're not following the letter of the law, they'll put a stop to it.
Yeah.
And you can call that in, as Galt said, or we can call it in. And tonight, I think
Yeah, we'll
we
ask-
can call
we'll
it
make
in
a-
for you. But don't hesitate to call code enforcement. Cobb County Code Enforcement.
Okay.
And tell them where you live, give them your address, tell them what the issue is. They'll send somebody out within a matter of days to look into it.
Okay, all right,
Okay?
thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate
thank you,
your
Michael,
time.
very
Have a
much.
good night, guys.
Appreciate your patience. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak to CP 41 or the text amendment attached? Okay, Galt, this is yours. You
I'll
wanna-
just, say a little bit more. Some of those businesses were put in before we had little protections like this in place. So that's why you get some of those things where you're hearing trucks and that. And we're trying to avoid increasing that problem for residents with something like this text amendment. So I'm gonna make a motion that we recommend approval of this text amendment, CP 4-1.
Motion is second by Thea. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. That's approved 5-0. Thank you very much. Jason, what else do we have here? We have an SP, one more SP.
Yes, sir. Our final item for the night on this agenda is a staff proposal, and this is the third type of comprehensive plan amendment where staff has identified an issue or has been given direction by the Board of Commissioners to bring forward an issue to be addressed. And in this instance, we have one item. It's SP1. It's the subject properties are located in District 2, and it involves the addition of a text amendment for the commercial node at the Atlanta Road and Cooper Lake Drive intersection. So this is associated with two of the CP items we heard earlier this evening, CP 2.3 and CP 2.4. The proposed text amendment reads as follows. In recognition of existing and changing conditions, a small commercial node has been created at the intersection of Atlanta Road and Cooper Lake Drive. This is a northward expansion of the Neighborhood Activity Center at the Atlanta Road and Cumberland Parkway intersection. This node incorporates not only commercial uses, but high-density residential at the northeast and southwest corners of the intersection. There is also a small section of medium-density residential at the northwest corner of the node. It is recommended that no further extension of the commercial node at this intersection be considered. This proposal also provides a transition from the commercial and higher density residential uses to the lower density residential and less intense uses.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Anyone here wishing to speak to SP1, as was just read? That is tied to two of my CP items, CP 2.3 and 2.4. I'm very much in favor of this. I can tell you for the last 10, 15 years at least, I've heard many discussions about this exact thing. And all Cobb County is doing is recommending, and the key words here is that no further extension of this commercial node extend beyond this intersection, and that's a good thing. We want it to remain residential, so I'm in favor of this, and I would recommend approval. Can I get a second? Okay, we'll go with Skip on the second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. So SP one's approved, 5-0. Thank you very much. Jason, anything else?
No, sir, that concludes our items.
All right, y'all stay warm out there. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. We stand adjourned at 8:25.